Hey, what's up everybody? Joshua Casper back at you with another video review of a brand new plugin. This one is from Abletunes and it's called RVRB or Reverb. That's how I'll be referring to it throughout this video. It is a modern reverb for modern producers. That's how it's described to me, and I really dig it. You know, so many plugins these days are trying to emulate old school effects, whether that be reverbs, delays, compressors, so on. Give me the new stuff. I want to hear the new stuff. Like, let's push the envelope forward. You know, it's important to have digital recreations of that old school vintage gear, but I want to hear where we're going. Not necessarily always get back with the nostalgia of the 70s or wherever it was. So I'm excited that that's how this was conceived, thinking of the future, thinking of the modern times, and they've done a really good job with it. So there are a number of really great features. What I'm gonna do is play you some of the presets just so you can get an idea of how it sounds, and then we're gonna talk about each one of the different modules and panels inside of here, and talk about some really cool features that are inside called soft attack, tail control, and a few other things as well. So let's jump into it. This is the sound we got. So it's just kind of like a bell sound there, square wave. Nothing too great, but just throw some reverb on it and it starts to sound all right. All right, so I'm going to stop right there. If I click right here, I just went through the general presets here. We obviously have instrument-specific ones, a number of presets for vocals, drums and percussion, and some really out-of-this-world ones. You know, let's just try these out. I actually want to come back to this right here. It says synth pluck hall soft attack, and that's using the soft attack parameter down here. So what this does is actually rolls off the harsh attack transients of any sound coming into the unit and just focuses on the sustain part of the input signal to create the reverb. And if I go ahead and turn the dry wet up to 100%, let's turn the soft attack down and listen to the reverb that we have. And while we're playing it, let's go ahead and gently roll in soft attack and then A/B it real quick, 0-100%, just as you can hear what's actually happening. So you can hear that the attack transient there is being rolled off and not creating the reverb. Now obviously this is at 100% wet, but when you mix it back in, it's actually going to give you a nicer, smoother reverb than if you had that attack transient still in there. So we can actually do it right around, I don't know, 40% dry wet and see if we can't hear the difference. So quite a stark difference when you have a nice mix between the dry and wet signals there. Now, there are some instances where you'll want that attack transient, that higher pitch stuff. There are some instances where you won't, and some instances where you want to be able to mix in between them. And having that in one parameter right here at quick access is just phenomenal. Now there's another great feature inside of here. We have a 4-band EQ for the input signal. So let's just pull down the soft attack here a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and pull it all the way down. I can actually roll off that high-end harshness very easily by doing this. And now I've made a much more natural, subdued reverb tail using that input EQ. Now, one thing that's really, really cool about reverb is not only on the input signal curve here, but also on the dampening, we have 4 different filter bands. So usually a reverb will give you a high or a low boost cut, but having 4 bands will allow you more precision and even get more creative with both the input EQing and the dampening of the audio signal. I also want to point out that the shelf can be turned into a cut just by clicking right there as well. Really great features to have, and you can also bypass them or turn them on by clicking the names up here at the top. And if you ever want to reset, just click that reset button. You'll be given a nice flat line to deal with. The middle here is kind of where the main functionality is. We've got the decay rate. It actually goes quite high. You can see up to 20 seconds here. We've got room size, which can be quite large. Let's just listen to what that sounds like. So you can get some really spacious sound going on. Now there's another really cool effect here too called tail control. And what this actually does is crafts the tail of the reverb depending on the input signal and how long it is. So if you have a really short note, the reverb will be really short. And if you have a really long note, the reverb will be sustained longer, just like that input note. And it's actually really, really cool. And I want to bring in an example that they actually sent me when they sent me this plugin, because I think it's a really good example of this in action. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and solo it and just listen. If I come in here and actually show you, there's a little bit of automation and it's on the tail control of the actual reverb plugin. And we can look at it both ways here. Just come over like this and just take notice of the parameter here, tail control, when it pulls up over here on this synth line. So you can hear that the reverb is conforming to the input signal. Here, it's kind of this signal is triggering the reverb, which washes over the next. But over here, it's not washing over the next one. It's being stopped right after the note stops. So the note sounds different than if it were dry. If I 100% dry over here, it's still adding an effect. But it's not letting the tail drift over the next note. Now this is very useful for something creative like a rise effect like it is here, or if you have like a chord progression and you don't want the harmonics from one chord washing into the next via reverb and making things all wishy-washy and really muddying up the waters. Using the tail control will actually stop the reverb of one chord before the next chord is triggered, and so on and so forth. So not only is it a really creative parameter to be tweaking, but it can be an also very useful one for precise control over the reverb itself. I mean, overall, I would say it's a really great reverb. It's got a lot included inside of it. It sounds utterly fantastic. You know, you've got all of these choices of early reflections over here. You've got 5 different types of body reverb, from wide space to a tunnel and so on. Really, really a lot of control at your fingertips. No hidden panels, all right here for you to see, tweak, and make a perfect reverb. Again, modern reverb for modern producers. I'm really pumped to have it in my toolbox. Thanks to the good people at Abletunes for sending it over. If you guys want to check it out, I'm going to leave a link in the video description. I highly suggest you do. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.